Hello, everybody. It's been a little minute since I've had a video for you, but I'm back. So let's get started. Here I have a few tools. I have a compass with a chalk pencil, and I have two smaller tools. One is from the Dollar Tree, the pink and white one, and the other is one of my old favorites. And the yellow is a 6mm flat back crochet hook. My monochromatic color scheme here consists of a couple of teal, some metallics, white, and two glitter paints in Aqua and Hologram. So this stone is almost 4 inches across, and I've given it a base coat of Key West. With my chalk pencil and my compass, I've laid out a series of concentric circles, each incrementing by 1/4. So I start at 1/4, 1/2, 3/4, and so on. Next, I place the 6mm Teal Mint circle right in the center. Now with my small tool and that same Teal Mint, I'm adding 8 dots right around the center. So I'm starting with the north, south, east, and west 4, and then putting another one in between each of those for a total of 8. So some of you may know that I have no idea, no plans when I sit down to paint and dot. So what you're seeing here is exactly what I'm thinking as I'm doing it, and also taping it. So a couple of my dots are a little off. I have one that is severely off. The paint is still wet, so it's easy for me to come in right now with the silicone tool and just scoop up that wet paint. And then with a damp paintbrush, I always want to say toothbrush, I'm going to wipe up the rest of that paint and then complete my repairs and make sure I have it nice and dry before I come in and replace that dot. With the small end of the Dollar Tree tool and the white, this is just a plain white acrylic, I'm adding a small dot between each of the bottom of the Teal Mint. Now beginning my every other pattern for the top here, a small series of walked dots around every other one of the large Teal Mint dots. And then a small little white dot in between each of the dots from round 1. Now on the remaining 4 teal dots, I have a white swoosh starting right above each of the teal and working towards the remaining white dot. I want to call your attention to a couple of things here. One is I'm using the same tool for both the white and the teal and the same end. And you'll notice that the teal swoosh is a lot thinner. Now that's simply because I'm using less paint. The other is acknowledging that I pulled some of my swooshes from the top down towards the center, and others will be pushed up from the bottom towards the center. That's just a matter of preference. It has nothing to do with the pattern. Just sometimes it's easier to pull it from the top, and other times it's easier to push from the bottom. Now the same goes for the walked dots. Here I'm walking about 5 dots up from the bottom towards the center. If I were in a different mood or a different position, I would probably walk them down from the top, but that's totally up to you. Okay, I'm back with the teal, and I'm starting just above that white swoosh, and I'm pulling one down towards the center. Truth be told, here I had thought I was going to bring this swoosh all the way down, but it only went so far, so this is what we ended up with. Now I'm switching over to the Mermaid Tail. This is such a beautiful color. And I have the smaller end of the Dollar Tree tool and a good amount of paint and pulling a larger swoosh from just above that last teal one and bringing it down as far as I can. Basically, I would like to bring it down all the way to the white, but I'm beginning to sense a pattern here. Another swoosh, a small white one, a lot smaller than the Mermaid Tail. It's just about the same size as the first two. This is one of the areas I had no idea what to do, and just decided to throw in a couple of extra sets of walked dots here, and all in all, I think it worked out pretty well. Okay, I've moved out to the 1 1/4 inch guideline, and I have the smaller end of my Dollar Tree tool along with the Mermaid Tail. The count and the size doesn't matter. With one exception, it has to be an even number. I have 50 dots here. You can have 20. You can have whatever. It just has to be an even number because we're going to do an every other pattern in just a second. First round had the Mermaid Tail. Second round has the Teal Mint. And now on the inner part of that round, I have the very, very small white dot. At the time I was doing this, I had no idea if I would be able to do in every other pattern. And so you can see I had counted and chalked off all the little marks. But I was able to, and therefore I have a little white dot in between every other one of my Teal Mint. Now, this is a 4mm flat back of the crochet hook, and I'm laying out a whole series of white dots here. And I thought I had an even number, and I was going to try something, but it ended up being actually an odd number, and I have 37 here. You'll see in a minute about making changes because I had these dots, and then with the Teal Mint, I was going to do a little series of block dots on every other dot. But as you can see, when I got to the end, I had 2 spaces left. Now I should have either had 1, which would have been perfect, or 3 where I could have added another. So I continued all the way around, filling them all in, and that ended up being fruitless because there's going to be a change. With the same small tool and back to the mermaid tail, I'm putting a snappy little swoosh here, and that's accomplished quite easily. You just put your tool down and just flick your wrist, and there you are, have a cute little swoosh. I want you to take note of just how close those teal and white dots are to the center versus the distance between these. But when we're done, I doubt very much that you would have even noticed that if I didn't point it out to you. But whether you noticed it on your own or not, the point here is it's okay to make mistakes. It's up to you whether you want to move on or not, but don't stress it. We're here just for fun. Okay, are we good? All right. Here I'm doing off-center top dots facing up and towards the center. I want to draw your eye inward. So if you wanted the eye to go outward, obviously you'd place it on the opposite end. And of course you always have the option of just placing them right smack in the center. Now I'm going to be doing some highlighting. Here I'm using the pearl white, and I'm going directly over the white acrylic with my pearl white. Why do I do that? Well, I have 2 reasons. One is if you're working with metallics and you place that right on your substrate, your base color, that can be tricky, messy, and unfortunate. And second, which I think is the most important reason, metallic white by itself just lays very flat, sinks into the background, especially on a lighter color back. On top of the white acrylic, it gives it a little bit more dimension. It just looks a lot nicer. I'll get back to that in just a second, but in the meantime, I'm just doing a little off-center top dotting here on top of my off-center top dots. So as you can see, I'm adding the white on top of the mermaid tail and the mermaid tail on top of the white. I was showing you before with the pearl white. I'm doing this with the teal. The metallic teal is going on top of the mermaid tail. Now this is in real time. I'm showing you I have a fairly decent amount of paint on my tool, and I'm very slowly dragging it down along that mermaid tail. And you can see just how pretty, how beautiful that is. Same goes for the smaller end, the smaller tip. For the rest of the video, all of the mermaid tail, whether you see me doing it or not, is going to get the teal metallic, and all of the white, again, whether you see me or not doing it, will have the pearl white on top of it. Now I'm popping back up at the top and adding just 1 dot in between that separation area there. And you can see that some of those sections are a little bit further away from the other, but by the time I add this extra dot in here, it just brings everything together, and it's not even noticeable. Now, still with the metallic teal, I decided to split up this 2 little swooshes, the white and the Teal Mint. So I started by placing that first dot up at the top and then walking down in between and towards the center, and it still looked a little bit lost. So I kept adding a little bit more paint to that first dot at the very top there and filled in along the other side, just walking a few dots until I was satisfied with what I had. So here I have a full cut color shift paint. This is in pastel green. So on most of the, I'm saying most of the Teal Mint or mint teal, whichever one it is, I've added a top coating of this pastel green. Now I didn't do it on all of it as I had done with the Mermaid Tail and the teal and the white and the pearl white. But if I had it to do over again, I would have. There are some spots, like some of the swooshes on the top here and a little bit on the side, where I went and used a glitter paint, the Aqua glitter paint, but I'll point that out to you. Now, remember along the edge, that second collar that I had spoken about before and showed you where I had walked that whole series of teal mint dots down? And I told you it was going to change. Well, it did. And I scraped off everything except for the first two dots. I left those, and then I went back and repainted until I had a nice clean surface. You can see that the first dot there, the teal mint dot, is a little bit larger than the second one. And so that first one is going to get an off-center white top dot facing upward. Before I go on here, I'm going to ask you, if you like what you're seeing, to please hit that subscribe button, give me a thumbs up, hit the bell so you can be notified when my next video comes up. And of course, feel free to share, and questions and comments are always welcome. And now on the second dot, the smaller one, that is getting a little topping off of the pastel green. The mermaid tail, and this looks a little bit larger than what it is. It's actually quite small. A mermaid tail off-center top dot facing upward, and I'm doing that all the way around. Here I have the DecoArt Extreme Glitter Paint. This is the color Aqua, and I placed this on quite a bit of the teal mint, like I said before. And you see I'm doing it up here, and I do it somewhere along the sides, along the little swooshes that are going to be coming up in just a minute. It's not bad, but I really wish I had stayed with just the pastel green. Remember where we placed the little white dot just underneath the mermaid tail from that first collar under every other one? Well, now we're placing a very small teal mint one above the opposite every other one on the inside. And here you can get a really nice look of everything that's been done up until now. With the teal mint, I've started underneath those two little dots between those larger white ones, and I'm pulling a swoosh over to the right, underneath and over to the right. These here will also get a top coating of the glitter paint. Now, a pretty little dot right at the bottom of those dots and at the end of those swooshes will bring that all together. Here's the addition of the DecoArt glitter paint, the Aqua, on that mint teal. Again, this is where I would rather have the pastel green. Off-center top dots facing upward, and I'm using the metallic pearl here straight out of the bottle. Now this goes a little against what I was saying before as to putting the pearl white right on the base, but this is not the base. This is actually the fourth layer, so it'll be just fine. Okay, so I got rid of those little dots that were around the outside edge there, and I repainted it. And I'm showing you here that I had 50 dots on the very top circle. The second circle had 37, so I had an even number, an odd number, and now I have an even number. Again, doesn't matter the size, but you do need an even number. So each one of those dots are fairly spaced apart. I think they're probably about 1/4 of an inch apart. I have the teal mint. Whether you have it upside down or not, it doesn't matter here. Start to the right of the white dot and pull a swoosh up and over so that it's going to the top of the next one. And then once you've done that, you're going to do the same thing, only in the opposite direction. So we'll have like an elongated swoosh with, to me, I think of it as with two heads. Starting with the mermaid tail, and just above one of the white dots, walk the top one, and walk 2 dots down, so it's 3. And then underneath, walk 2 dots up, and do that on every other white dot. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and then underneath 1, 2, and do that all the way around. Now with the white, do the same thing. I'm putting 3 on the top and 2 coming up. It's like a little ribbon And with the pastel green, I'm going over each of those long elongated swooshes. Now here on every dark colored set of walk dots, you can see what I mean, every other one, I'm placing a white dot right in the center of the elongated swoosh, if you will. Now I'm placing some little dots here that are taken away on the top. I do have them on the bottom, but not on the top. Every other one, I'm placing an off-center top dot. And that's pretty much it. All I have done after that is on the every other one of the white dots that are still there, I did add a little bit of hologram, but that's totally optional. And that's our stone. So let me know what you think, and please subscribe, and make sure you hit that bell so you'll know when I put my next video up. And don't forget to seal your work. There are many different types of sealers out there. I like the Rust-Oleum, and I'm particularly fond of the matte clear. So thank you for watching, and have a good night. Bye-bye.